Welcome to Agentic Workflows the Money series. Episode 1, Workspace Setup in 15 minutes.
It's great to be here, and honestly, it feels like this is the one we've been building up to.
I know, right? We've been talking around the edges of this for so long. We've covered AI, productivity, but this feels foundational.
It is foundational, because today we're not just talking about a cool new app or some little trick.
No, we're diving into a really substantial piece of work, specifically Nick Seriev's 6-hour masterclass on this exact topic.
Yeah.
And the premise he lays out is, well, it's pretty startling. He doesn't frame this as just saving time. He calls it a massive potential wealth transfer.
And that sounds so dramatic. I know it sounds like hyperbole, but when you actually break down the mechanics of what's happening, it's really not.
Okay, so let's just tear into that right away. Because when people talk about tech, they usually talk about efficiency. You know, this app saves me 5 minutes. But Seriev introduces this term that really, it stopped me in my tracks. He calls it horizontal leverage. What is that?
It's a complete flip in how we think about automation. So for the last, I don't know, decade, everyone's been focused on vertical leverage.
Vertical leverage.
Yeah. That means you're trying to automate one specific job, top to bottom. Like your goal is, I want to build an AI that completely replaces a software engineer. You're trying to automate 100% of that single role.
That sounds incredibly hard. I mean, people are complicated. There's intuition, there's context.
Exactly. It's unbelievably difficult. You spend millions and millions of dollars trying to get that last 10% of human nuance, and you usually end up with a system that's brittle, you know?
Yeah.
It breaks the second something unexpected happens.
Right.
But horizontal leverage flips that entire equation on its head, it says. Instead of automating 100% of one role, what if you automated 90% of 10,000 roles?
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
That is a fundamentally different way of thinking about scale. Can you give me an analogy for that?
The best analogy, and the one he uses, is the Industrial Revolution. It's the seamstress versus the textile factory. Before the machines, you had a skilled seamstress. She could make, maybe 10 shirts a day by hand, and that was her physical limit. Her output was directly linearly tied to her time.
Right. 1 hour of work equals 1 unit of output, basically.
Pretty much. Then the industrial loom comes along. And the fear, the exact same fear we hear today about AI, was that the seamstress would be out of a job, that the machine replaces the human.
But that's not what happened.
No, it's a total misconception. The seamstress didn't disappear. Her role evolved. She went from doing the manual labor of hand stitching to supervising a fleet of looms.
So she's not the one making the stitches anymore. She's the one managing the machines that make the stitches.
Precisely. She moved from labor to management. And because of that one shift, her output went from 10 shirts a day to supervising the production of 10,000 shirts a day. That's the wealth transfer. You are becoming the supervisor of digital looms.
I love that phrase, supervisor of digital looms. It just completely reframes it. It's not AI is my replacement, it's AI is my workforce.
That is the entire mindset shift. And the people who get this, the people who actually build these little factories on their computers, they're the ones who are positioned to capture what he calls that river of value.
And that's really our mission for this hour, isn't it? Because today isn't theoretical. A lot of people listening have probably used ChatGPT to, write a funny email or something. That's not what this is.
No, that is like trying to drink the ocean with a tiny straw. You have this incredible, powerful intelligence, and most people are using it as a glorified search engine or a copy-paste tool.
A chatbot.
Exactly. A chatbot. You ask a question, it gives you an answer. That's the bottleneck. We are moving away from chatbots, which exist in a chat window, to agents.
So what's the strict definition of an agent then? What makes it different?
An agent is software that takes action. It's that simple. A chatbot talks. An agent does.
It does what, though?
It creates files, it reads documents, it scrapes websites, it writes its own code, and then executes that code. It doesn't just give you the recipe, it cooks the meal.
Action. That's the key word here.
It's all about action. And to manage that action, to have this factory floor, you can't just use a browser window. You need a proper environment.
Which is exactly where we're starting. The promise here is that by the end of this deep dive, you, the listener, will have that factory floor built. We're going step by step. So let's get into the nuts and bolts. Section 1, the environment.
The cockpit.
The cockpit. I like that. So if I want to build these agents, where do I actually do it? What's the program I need to open?
So you need what's called an IDE, an integrated development environment.
Okay, I can already hear some people tensing up. IDE sounds like something only a hardcore programmer would use. It sounds intimidating.
It really can be. I remember my first time opening one, it felt like walking onto the bridge of the Starship Enterprise. There are buttons and panels everywhere.
Right.
But really, just think of it like a super-powered version of Microsoft Word or Google Docs. It's just a place to write and organize your text and code.
And we're not going to give you 10 options.
Yeah.
For the sake of this deep dive, based on the source material, there was one recommendation. What is it?
Visual Studio Code. Just VS Code.
Now, why VS Code? I know there are some newer AI-native tools out there like Cursor that seem really flashy. Why stick with what seems like the old standard?
For that exact reason. Because it is the standard. It's the most widely used, most supported, most stable cockpit out there. If you ever have a problem, you can Google it, and a million people have already solved it for you.
So it's robust.
It's robust, it's free, it runs on Mac, Windows, Linux, everything. But the most important reason is that with one or two key extensions, it becomes the perfect instrumentation panel for managing these agents. It gives you the exact layout you need.
Okay, so let's say I've downloaded it. I've opened VS Code for the first time. It's this blank, dark screen. Walk me through the layout. What are the essential parts I need to focus on so I don't get overwhelmed?
Just focus on 3 panels. Ignore everything else for now. 3 panels. On the far left, you have the left panel. That is your File Explorer. It's your filing cabinet. It's literally just a list of your folders and files. It's no different than Finder on a Mac or the File Explorer on Windows. Nothing scary there.
Okay, left panel is the filing cabinet. Got it.
The big area in the middle is the center panel. That's the editor. When you click on a file in the filing cabinet on the left, it opens up in the center. That's your workspace. That's where you see the text, the code, the instructions.
Center panel's the canvas. Makes sense.
And then the right panel. This is the part that changes everything. The right panel is where your agent lives. It's the agent chat.
So this isn't part of VS Code by default. This is an extension I install.
Exactly. You go to the little extensions marketplace in VS Code and you install an AI assistant, something like the official Claude extension or whatever your preferred model is, and it creates this chat panel on the right side of your screen. That is your communication channel to the factory floor.
It's funny, you know, we spent the last 20 years getting used to these beautiful graphical user interfaces with buttons and sliders and drag and drop. And now we're saying the best way forward is just a text box. It feels like we're going back to the 1980s DOS prompt.
It really does. It feels like a step backward. But here's the key insight from the source. The text interface is the universal interface. It's the most efficient way to communicate intent to an intelligence.
How so?
Think about it. If you want to automate something with a graphical tool, like, say, Zapier, you have to drag a box, then another box, connect them with a line, open up a settings panel, click a drop-down, type something in. It takes, 20 clicks and 5 minutes to build a simple workflow.
Right. It's a lot of manual configuration.
With a text interface, you type one sentence in English. When I get an email with an invoice, save the attachment to my Dropbox and log it in a Google Sheet. Done. Natural language is the ultimate interface. So yeah, we're taking what looks like a step back in UI to take a massive leap forward in capability.
Okay, so I've got VS Code open. I've installed my AI extension. I can see the 3 panels, but it's an empty factory. I can't just type, make me money.
Right.
There needs to be some kind of organization.
Well, you could try, but you're right. The agent wouldn't know where to start. A messy factory is an unproductive and dangerous factory. You need structure.
And this brings us to section 2, the folder structure. There's a specific framework we're using here, right? The DO framework.
Yes, the DO framework.
Does that stand for something?
It does. Directive, Orchestration, and Execution.
Directive, Orchestration, Execution. Sounds very corporate. Break that down.
It's really just a logical separation of concerns. Think of it like a small company. The directive is the CEO. It sets the high-level strategy. It says what needs to be done. Our goal is to get more clients.
Okay, the big picture.
The orchestration is the project manager. That's the AI agent itself. It reads the CEO's directive and figures out the best way to do it.
Right.
It decides when to do things, which tools to use, what order to do them in.
It manages the project.
And the execution is the specialist worker. It's the person who actually does the specific task. They don't need to know the whole strategy. They just need to be really good at their one job.
CEO, project manager, worker. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that translate into actual folders on my computer? If I'm sitting here right now in VS Code, what folders do I need to create?
You're going to create 4 folders, just 4. And the names are specific. So if you're following along, do this now. Right-click in your File Explorer on the left and create a new folder.
Okay.
Folder number 1 is Directives, all lowercase and plural, with an S at the end.
Directives. Got
Folder 2, executions, same thing, lowercase plural.
executions. Okay.
Folder 3 is resources, and folder 4 is TMP.
Okay. Directives, executions, resources, and TMP. So let's go one by one. The directives folder, what actually goes in there?
This is for the what? The directives folder is where you put your plans, your strategies, and they're just simple text files called markdown files. They end with M.
So wait, this isn't code. I don't need to know Python or anything to create a directive.
Absolutely not. This is plain English. A directive is basically a standard operating procedure, an SOP. If you were going to hire a human assistant to find sales leads for you, you'd write up a document for them, right?
Yeah, of course. A checklist.
That checklist is a directive. You'd write, step 1, go to this website. Step 2, search for these kinds of companies. Step 3, put their contact info in a spreadsheet. You take that exact text, save it as findleads.md, and put it in your directives folder.
That's it. It's just a to-do list for the bot.
It's a to-do list, but it's a well-structured one. You want to define the objective, what the inputs are, like the keywords to search for, and critically, you need to define the definition of done.
The definition of done. Why is that so important?
Because an AI, like an intern who's a little too eager to please, might not know when to stop. If you just say find leads, it might try to search the entire internet for the rest of eternity.
Right.
By saying, you are done when you have a spreadsheet with 50 valid email addresses, you give it a clear finish line. It prevents it from getting stuck in loops or hallucinating that the job is finished when it hasn't even delivered the final file.
Okay, that seems very doable. Now, the executions folder, this is where it gets a bit more technical, I imagine.
A little, but this is really the heart of the whole system. The executions folder holds the how. This is where the Python scripts go, the files that end in .py.
And this is the question I'm sure everyone is thinking. Why? Why do we need these separate Python scripts? The AI is super intelligent. Why can't it just do everything itself in the chat window? Why do I need these other files?
This is probably the single most important concept to grasp in all of agentic workflows. If you get this, you get everything. It's the difference between probabilistic and deterministic work.
Okay, big words. Let's break those down. Probabilistic sounds like rolling the dice.
And in a way it is. A large language model, an LLM like Claude or GPT-4, is a probabilistic system. It's a creativity engine. It works by predicting the next most likely word in a sequence. It's brilliant for brainstorming, for summarizing, for writing, for reasoning in a fuzzy way.
It's like a super creative, knowledgeable person.
Exactly. A creative person who is also maybe a little bit of a flake sometimes. You wouldn't ask a poet to do your taxes, right? They might get creative with the numbers.
No, definitely not.
Business logic, and most of the tasks we want to automate need to be deterministic. They have to be reliable, repeatable, and 100% accurate every single time. 2 plus 2 must always equal 4. A list must always be sorted correctly.
And the AI might get it wrong sometime.
It might. Nick Sarayev runs this perfect experiment in the course. He asks a powerful AI model to sort a very long list of words alphabetically, just using its own internal reasoning.
A simple aided and sort.
It's a simple concept, but for a probabilistic brain, it's actually really hard. The model took almost 30 seconds, and you could almost feel it sweating, thinking token by token. And here's the crazy part. There's a non-zero chance it might make a mistake. It might put zebra before yak because it lost its place.
So it's slow and potentially unreliable for that kind of task.
Exactly. Then he tried the agentic approach. He asked the AI, write me a Python script that can sort this list. The AI wrote the script in about 2 seconds. And when he ran that script,
How long did it take?
milliseconds. And because code is deterministic, the result was perfect. 100% accurate every time.
Ah, okay. That's the light bulb moment. We are not using the AI to do the heavy lifting. We're using the AI as a master tool builder. It writes the tool that does the work.
You've got it. That's the whole game. The executions folder is your toolbox. It's full of these dumb, reliable little robots, these Python scripts that each do one specific thing perfectly. The AI is the brilliant manager who knows exactly which tool to grab from the toolbox for any given task.
So to be clear, I'm not the one writing these Python scripts. I'm telling the agent in the chat, I need a tool that scrapes a website, and the AI writes the scrape website.py file and puts it in the executions folder for me.
That is precisely it. You are the architect drawing the blueprints. The AI is the crew that builds the tools and then uses them to construct the building.
Okay, that makes so much sense.
Ah,
And the other two folders, real quick, resources and Tmp.
super simple. Resources is for any files you want to give to the agent. It's the inbox. If you have a PDF you want it to summarize or a CSV file of leads you want it to process, you just drop it in the resources folder.
And Tmp.
Tmp is just a temporary scratch pad for the agent. If it needs to, say, download an image from the web to analyze it, it will save it in Tmp, do its work, and then delete it. It keeps the main workspace from getting cluttered.
So it's just good digital hygiene, keeping the factory floor clean.
You have to. If you don't enforce this structure, the agents get confused. They'll start saving files all over the place, overwriting important things. It becomes chaos very quickly.
Okay, so let's recap. We have our factory, which is VS Code. We have our rooms designated, the folder structure. Now we need to, turn on the power. We need to connect this factory to the outside world.
That's a perfect analogy because right now your agent is basically trapped on your computer. If you want it to use Google or access your email or use the brain of a powerful AI model like Claude, it needs permission. It needs keys.
Which brings us to section 3, the .env file. That's .env. What in the world is that?
The .env file is simply the keys to the kingdom. It's a special text file that you create in the main root of your project folder, and it's where you store all your secrets.
Secrets meaning passwords.
Exactly. Specifically things called API keys. An API key is just a password for a program. If you want your agent to use Anthropic's AI, you need an Anthropic API key. If you want to use OpenAI's models, you need an OpenAI API key.
And where do we get these?
You just go to their websites, create an account. Many have free tiers to start, and you'll find a section for API keys. You generate one, and it's a long string of random-looking characters.
So I create this .env file, and what do I type inside it?
The format is very specific and simple. It's always the name of the key, in all caps, an equal sign, and then the key itself, with no spaces. So it would look like Anthropic Kappa Keyskin and your whole long Kigo share.
Okay, but why do this? Why this separate file? Why can't I just paste my key into the script or even just tell it to the agent in the chat?
This is Security 101, and it is non-negotiable. You never, ever, ever write a password or an API key directly into your code. It's called hard coding, and it's a huge mistake.
Why?
Imagine you build this amazing workflow, and you want to share it with a colleague, or maybe you want to put it on a site like GitHub to show off your skills for a job application. If your API key, which is linked to your credit card, is written inside the script, you have just posted your credit card on the public internet.
Yikes, okay. That's a very good reason.
The .env file is like the secure lockbox in the office. The file itself is special. Most code-sharing systems are designed to ignore it automatically, so you can share your code safely, and your secrets stay on your computer. The script just knows to go look in the lockbox for the key when it needs it.
It separates the logic from the credentials.
Perfectly said. And a pro tip. Your agent can help you with this. You can tell it, I have my OpenAI key, please create the .env file and set it up for me. But you have to know that it exists so you understand where your secrets are being stored.
Okay. Factory built, rooms labeled, power is on, keys are in the lockbox.
Yeah.
But the factory is still empty and dumb. The agent doesn't know our rules yet. We have to give it a brain, right?
Yeah.
We have to onboard the new employee.
Yes, exactly. We have to give it the employee handbook. This is section 4, the system prompts.
I thought the whole point was that these AIs are geniuses. They've read the whole internet. Don't they already know how to code?
They know how to code in a general sense. But they know nothing about your factory. They don't know you have a directives folder. They don't know you have a strong preference for deterministic Python scripts. You have to teach it the rules of this specific house.
So how do you do that? Do you have to type out a long paragraph of instructions every single time you start a new chat session? Hi, Claude. Remember me. I like folders.
No, thank goodness. That would be awful. Instead, you create what's called a system prompt file. It's another markdown file, MD, that you put in your main project folder. Depending on the AI assistant you're using, it might need to be named claude.md or just a more generic agents.md.
And what does this file do?
Every time you start a new conversation with the agent, it secretly reads this file first, before it even looks at your first message. It's like its morning briefing. It's the set of core instructions that govern all of its behavior within your workspace.
It's like a hypnotist script. When I snap my fingers, you will be a world-class agent who loves my folder structure.
That's a fantastic way to think about it. And so the question is, what do you put in that hypnotism script?
Yeah, what goes in there?
You put in a supercharged prompt that lays out the rules. There are a few key instructions you absolutely must include.
You operate within a 3-layer architecture called the DO framework. You literally name it.
Okay, give it the vocabulary.
Exactly. Number 2, directives are in the directives folder. Executions are in the executions folder. You're telling it where to find things and where to put things.
Makes sense.
Number 3, and this is maybe the most important one, always favor creating deterministic Python scripts over trying to solve complex math or logic problems with your own internal reasoning.
You're reinforcing that probabilistic versus deterministic rule. Don't do the math in your head, build a calculator.
You have to drill it into the agent. And finally, number 4, you want to give it instructions for error handling. You want to teach it a concept called self-annealing.
Self-annealing, that sounds like something from a sci-fi movie. Or metallurgy.
It's a metallurgy term. Annealing is when you heat metal and then cool it slowly to make it tougher and less brittle. For our AI agent, it means that if it runs a script and that script fails, if the robot trips and falls over, it doesn't just give up and cry for help.
What does it do?
You instruct it to read the error message, diagnose the problem, rewrite the code to fix the problem, save the updated script, and then try running it again.
Whoa. So the system, it heals itself.
It heals itself. It learns from its own mistakes in real time. If Upwork changes the layout of their website and your scraping script breaks, a self-annealing agent will see the error, realize the layout changed, fix its own code to adapt to the new layout, and carry on with the job.
That's incredible. That means the system gets stronger and more robust over time, not weaker.
It's the difference between a fragile system that needs constant human maintenance and an anti-fragile system that thrives on chaos and change. This one instruction is the key to building truly autonomous agents.
Wow, okay. So we have the full setup, the environment, the folders, the keys, the brain transplant. But before we actually start using it, there's one last piece. The source material calls it the one rule, a mindset shift.
This is the hardest part. It's harder than any of the technical setup. It's a psychological barrier, especially for anyone who is technically inclined. The rule is this: never manually edit the files.
Never. Not at all. Never. But come on. What if I see a typo?
The agent wrote a script and I see it misspelled a variable name. It would take me 2 seconds to just click in the file and fix it. You're saying I shouldn't do that?
I'm saying if you open that Python file to fix that typo yourself, you are failing. You are reverting to the old way of thinking. You are not the programmer anymore. You are the CEO. You are the manager.
Okay, explain that, the CEO analogy.
If you're the CEO of a company and an analyst brings you a report with a typo in it, you don't grab their laptop out of their hands and fix it yourself, right?
No, I'd say, hey, there's a typo on page 3. Please fix it and send me the revised version. Exactly. Because your time is more valuable than that.
Oh.
And because it's their job. You have to treat the agent the same way. You are the manager. You give direction. It does the work.
But beyond the mindset, is there a technical reason not to do it?
Yes, a huge one. The agent maintains a state or an understanding of the code in its context window. It remembers what it wrote.
Yeah.
If you go in and change the file behind its back, you've now broken that state. The agent's memory no longer matches reality. It's going to get confused on the next step and probably make even more errors.
So it's about maintaining the integrity of the system's knowledge.
You have to keep the agent as the single source of truth for all file modifications. So let's take your example. You have a script that scrapes Upwork for copywriting jobs. You want to change it to AI automation jobs. The old way is what you said.
Yeah.
Open the file, find the word, replace it, save.
Right.
The agentic way is you go to the chat panel on the right, you type in English, update the Upwork scraper to look for AI automation jobs instead of copywriting.
Yeah.
That's it. You press enter.
And the agent does the rest.
The agent reads your command. The agent opens the file. The agent makes the change. The agent saves the file. You have stayed in the manager seat. You have to trust the orchestrator.
Trust the orchestrator. Okay, I think I'm sold. It's a discipline, but I see why it's crucial. We have covered a ton of ground. The theory, the setup, the rules. Let's make this concrete. Section 6. Let's walk through a real use case.
Let's do it.
So we'll use the example of an Upwork freelancer. This person spends, let's say, 2 hours every single morning scrolling through job postings, filtering, reading, and writing proposals. It's a grind. It's soul-crushing. How do we use the workspace we just designed to automate this entire process?
This is the perfect example of capturing that river of value. You're taking a high-cost, low-leverage activity and making its cost effectively zero. So step 1, the freelancer has set up their workspace just like we described. The folders are there. The .env file has their API keys.
Okay, the factory is ready.
Step 2, they need to create the directive. Now, this freelancer already has a process, even if it's just in their head. They know what they look for, so they just write that down. Or maybe they already have a note somewhere. They can literally just drag that text file into the chat with the agent.
And what do they tell the agent?
They say, take this process and turn it into a formal directive. Call it upworkapply.md.
And what would that directive file look like once the agent creates it?
It would be a nicely formatted markdown file inside the Directives folder, and it would say something like this.
Scrape new job postings on Upwork that match my skills.
A list of keywords like Python, AI automation, agentic workflows, and a minimum hourly rate, say $75 an hour.
1. Run the scrapeupwork.py script to get a list of new jobs. 2. Filter out any jobs from clients who don't have a verified payment method. 3. For each valid job, run the generateproposal.py script to write a custom cover letter. 4. Log all the jobs and their proposals into a Google Sheet. Definition of done. A link to a Google Sheet containing at least 20 new qualified job opportunities with drafted proposals.
So the what is perfectly defined. The CEO has given the order. Now the agent, the project manager, has to figure out the how.
That's right. The agent reads that directive and immediately thinks, okay, step 1 is run scrapeupwork.py. But wait a minute, I don't have a script called scrapeupwork.py.
It identifies the missing tools.
Exactly. So it starts building them. It'll say in the chat, I need to build some tools first. And then it gets to work. It builds scrapeupwork.py, a Python script that knows how to log into Upwork and find the jobs. Then it builds generateproposal.py, a script that knows how to take a job description and feed it to an LLM to get a great cover letter. And finally, it builds updatesheet.py, a totally deterministic script for writing data to a Google Sheet.
And it does all of this, writing and testing the code, just based on that one directive file.
Yes. You'll see the process happening in the chat. It might say building the scraper. Okay, testing it now. Looks like I'm getting blocked. I'll add a user agent header. Okay, testing again, success. That's the self-annealing happening right in front of you.
So it builds its own toolbox.
Yeah.
The factory is now fully equipped. It's Tuesday morning. The freelancer wakes up, grabs their coffee. What do?
They open VS Code. They open the chat panel. They type one sentence. Run the Upwork scraper.
That's it.
That is it. The agent is the orchestrator. It wakes up, reads the upworkapply.md directive. It executes the Python scripts in the correct order. It handles any errors that pop up. And maybe 2 minutes later, it comes back with a message. Done. Here is the link to your Google Sheet with 25 new job leads and drafted cover letters.
That 2-hour, soul-crushing grind is now a 30-second command.
That is the leverage. That's the time you just bought back. Time you can now spend actually doing the high-value client work or learning a new skill or, just having breakfast with your family.
That's genuinely powerful. Once you feel that, I can't imagine going back to the old way.
You never do. Once you see that you can just conjure up a team of digital workers to do your bidding by typing plain English, it fundamentally changes how you approach work.
This has been amazing. I feel like anyone listening can actually pause this and go set this up right now. We've gone from the abstract theory to a practical money-making application.
It's not magic, it's just good engineering. But the results feel like magic?
So before we wrap up, I want to leave everyone with that final provocative thought from the outline. Everything we just built, we built it locally. It's on my laptop. It only runs when my computer is on and I type run.
Right. The factory is built on your personal property. It's powerful, but it's still tethered to you.
So what's the next step?
The next step is to ask, what if you could move this factory into the cloud? What if you didn't even have to type run? What if this agent just ran itself every morning at 4 a.m. while you were asleep, so that you woke up not to a list of leads, but to interview requests already in your inbox?
Moving from the IDE to the cloud, from manual activation to full autonomy. And that's exactly where we're going next.
It's the next frontier.
Your workspace is ready. Episode 2, we build the Upwork scraper.